How do, folks? How you doing? Just a quick one. What we're going to talk about today, I thought maybe touch on the law a little bit, maybe even touch on the government a bit, that treasonous organisation that are holding you all to ransom at the minute, with your consent. So, the law. Where do we begin? Because wherever you want to begin with the law is not the beginning. That I can tell you. Common laws, they come from another time. Not just a long time ago sort of thing. Another time where other things were going on. The world was run totally differently. You can look to the Tatarian Empire and such like. I believe they come down from those times. If you've gone down those rabbit holes and know that sort of thing. Then you come into your Strawman. Wow. I think most folks are aware of the Strawman now. I will quickly run through, just for those that aren't. In 1666, while the fire of London was burning, the Parliament in London were sitting in session, and they were bringing in the Sesquivy Act of 1666, and this was basically presuming everybody dead. You got the opportunity, you got 7 years to come forward, and in those 7 years, if you came forward to prove life, you was alive. If you didn't, you was dead, lost at sea. So what did you do if you did come forward? They offer you a chest of gold and some land, 5 parcels of land. Now this was for your signature to tell them that you was dead. Lost at sea. Either way, you was dead, lost at sea. You became a corporation. You signed the bond. So basically, you signed your lives away, as you would in today's time, for a chest of gold and a little bit of land. I've seen it over and over again. Folks will do literally anything for that fiat currency. Literally anything. They'll sign over any rights that they had, any freedoms that they had, for that short term of a bit of wonga. But anyway, that was to settle your life. The Sesquivy is to settle your life. Settle all your bills, your debts, anything that may incur, any liabilities. This is what it's there for, and that's what it's there for today. But that's been buried and hidden. They tell you must have insurance for your motor as you're going down the road. Well, your Sesquivy should cover that. That's your liability. That's your Sesquivy fund covers that, fine. If they weren't so treasonous and blocking that. But in the eyes of the law, yeah, your Sesquivy covers your liabilities. It covers all your debts, past, present and future, which means you shouldn't really be paying for anything. I mean, you can go into the laws of usury and whatever's not being used is there for you to use. You can stand on that law, and in that case, there's no real such thing as theft as long as nobody else is using it. It depends how far you want to go with the law. But anyway, less of the digressing. I was just quickly running you through this. So we fast forward to the day that you're born, and you are born of the womb of your mother, of the loins of your father. This is proven by genetics. Just a sheer blood test can prove this. All the witnesses themselves, your mother, your father, your doctor. But what happens? You go and register a birth. And now I remember when I had my lad, and that pride I felt going to register my birth, at the birth of my son, thinking you're doing a really good thing. You're proud to enter this into society. This is, I've created this, and now I'm putting this into the world. So yeah, I want to get this birth certificate, which is one of the stupidest things you could ever do if you know about it. Obviously, you don't know about it at that stage, so you do it. Unfortunately, you're giving up the rights to your own child, your property, as you should be referring to your nippers in the eyes of the law, it's your property, because you can prove it's your property. You can prove it by DNA, it's your property. You created it. You created it. It is your property. And it's your property to bring up until you've taught it and educated it in the ways that you require to, and send it into the world. But anyway, yeah, as I say, you're born, so then you give it away. You give your birthright away by signing it away in the well, your child's birthright. You sign it away with the registration with the government. Now what you're actually doing is giving them the trust, in effect. You're making yourself in a position of liability. You're making yourself the trustee and the government the beneficiaries of your nippers. And as trustee now, you must present them to the indoctrination centres, the schools. You must take them for the vaccines. You must do this, that and the other. Everything that they tell you, you must do. You must do that because you gave your child away, your property, and you put it into a trust, whereas you was the liable party. So skip forward, as I say, digressing again, 15 years and 5 months. Your property there gets their very own national insurance number. Now I can remember as a kid, I can remember getting mine at 15, and I can remember that proud moment again. A proud moment when you got something official. Another scam. Another scam. At that point, your birth certificate gets floated on the stock market, and what's being traded is your future sweat equity, your future worth, what you're going to produce, your production through your life. That's basically what's being traded. You can see they didn't get fuck all out of me. But however, I say that the bond didn't get anything. The bond got no benefit. But the reality is, my bond is still worth billions, like everybody else's is. You go on fidelity.com, go look up the little red number on the birth certificate, and run it through fidelity.com. You'll find your account and your worth. That will tell you exactly what your bond is worth there, what your sesquivie is. That's your sesquivie. That's your money. We know they're not going to give it you, but they're a treasonous bunch of bastards, aren't they? What they do is against the law, but we allowed them to convince us that the legal system was the law, which it isn't. Anyway, your bond is there floating on the stock market, and you think nothing more of it. It even tells you on it you can't use it as identification. The reason you can't use it as identification is because it's not you. It's not you. It's a bond. It's not about you. It's the person, the legal fiction. You're not the person. You're the man or the woman. The legal fiction is the bond, and that's what they attach to in all circumstances. Whenever you sign your name, that will be monetized. Whatever you put a signature on, that is monetized, because now that joins the bond. Everything is commerce. Literally everything is commerce. Whatever they do, it's business, it's contract. And as the world, and as well, your bond is now your corporation. Your person is your corporation, and you're liable for it. But it is a corporation. Everything's corporate. Everything is commercial. Everything is business. Everything is for profit, which means it then comes down into commercial law. Now, as you've got commercial law, this is where you need to put a little bit of thought in and do a little bit of study, and not a lot, just a little bit, to understand the concept of commercial law and consenting to commerce and contracts. Very, very easy to research this. Have you consented? Well, yes, in a lot of ways you have. You've acquiesced, and that brings in, under their rules and their systems, in their form of honour, it brings in an acceptance by you of the offer that they put towards you, because they put the offer to you. It is contract law. They put the offer to you, and they offered you in many ways. You maybe didn't notice it, you didn't recognise it. They lie, they cheat, they steal. Honestly, actually, I say they lie. They very seldom they actually do lie. You do get them a lie occasionally, but not about this sort of stuff, because they don't need to talk about it. Basically, they won't go into it with you. But what they do is mislead. And there's a great maxim: let he who be deceived be deceived. It's a maxim of law. I mean, for fuck's sake, when you think of the very foundations that it's all built on, it's all built on deceit in the first place. So don't be surprised when they deceive you and the maxims actually back them up, so they can deceive you. Be vigilant on your rights, because he who isn't has none. And that's a fact. If you don't care for your rights and you're just sitting there letting them take them away, you didn't have them in the first place. What did you ever have? It's not tangible, it's not in your hand. It's something you had in here. But if you didn't believe you had it, you never had it, did you? So are they actually taking anything away from you? They offer you these contracts, and if you don't know how you're getting in these contracts, you need to learn. Start researching, start asking questions. But those folks who are just putting it out of their mind and not bothering, you're acquiescing and you're accepting further contracts, and this is why you're in the shit. Now the fact is, they can't do anything to you without your consent. They genuinely can't. There's nothing at all, nothing they can do to you without your consent. One way or another, you're giving them your consent. And yes, there is a little bit of tyranny scratching in now. The police will actually take you, physically take you from where you are to the police station. Well, if you're going to be afraid of that, you're a fool. If you've done your paperwork right, you've got a claim, haven't you? But there's no further than the police station. They cannot send you to prison without your consent. They cannot send you to prison without your consent. Cannot. The fact is, you keep giving the name of the bond. What's your name? Craig. What's your second name? Don't have a second name, just Craig. No, come on, what's your surname? All contracts are revoked, mate. Don't have a surname. I'm not a person. I'm a man. My man. My name's Craig. That's all you need. That's all you want. That is all you want. Let me just have a fumble here. Need any identification? The sun's on it, I suppose. I don't know if you can see it, because it's all a little wonky here, but there is my identification. I can't really do much about the sun. Don't know if that helps any, but there's my identification, and as you see, it's just Craig. All contracts revoked, paperwork done, paperwork in. All I am is Craig. I am the beneficiary of the Wetton Trust until such times that they would like to give me my remedy, and then I will not need the trust at all. But if they refuse to give me my remedy, then I will continue to sit in position as beneficiary to the trust. There's lots of folk know out there I've got a bit of a dicky ticker. Occasionally I'll need an hospital. I'm the beneficiary to the trust. I'm the beneficiary. The Sescavie is paying for that. That's my fund. That's my trust. The man, that's my trust. I'm the beneficiary to that trust, and the settlor to the trust, the grantor, an executor, and whatever other position I want to hold within that trust. But one thing I'm not, and never ever will be, is trustee to that trust. And that's what happens if I was stupid enough, which I never will be, to say my name is Craig Wetton. I am instantly accepting trustee position of that trust. Now I'm in the position of liability, me. So when you think that you've got to give this name, you haven't. If they wish you to, in fact, when you give that name, you're committing fraud, because you're claiming to be somebody that you're not. You're a man and a woman. It automatically, I know they want you to do that, so they're not going to do you for fraud. Obviously, you're never going to have a claim of fraud put on you for saying that. But the very fact you did say that and you are committing fraud, you're automatically and instantly in dishonour in the law, or with the law. You're the one in dishonour, and the law is a game of honour. He who's out of honour loses. Remain in honour and you win. You can never lose while ever you stand in honour. You can never lose while you stand in honour. So learn how to stand in honour, and this isn't what you think is honourable. This is their honour. Play their game there. You stand in honour. At the end of the day, you're always right. They like to stand in honour on technicalities. You're standing in honour on the law. They cannot make you step out of honour. They cannot force you out of honour. They try many, many ways. They cannot. If you don't know anything else, just know the words no consent. I do not consent. I do not consent. No chance in the world are you ever obligated to give your full name to anybody, or your corporate name to anybody, ever, anywhere. Somebody comes to you and asks you your name, it's your choice again. You're getting offered a contract. Do you want to accept? Has any laws been broken here? No? I just need to... No, you don't. You want to. What's your name? None of your business. Is there any law anywhere that states that I have to give you my name, or give anybody my name, just because you've asked? Not one. Not one. People think they get a knock on the door. Can I have your name, please? This is what gets a lot of people in the shit. TV man, TV licence, debt collectors, police, don't matter who it is, knocks on your door. Can I have your name? No. You've knocked on this door. If you don't know who's here, piss off. Shut the door. Simple as that. I guarantee you, when strangers knock on your door, it's not for your benefit. Not for your not one bit for your benefit. So there you go. The law. Well, the legal fiction, should I say? They subrogate you by subjugation. Subrogation. Just have a little look it up. And subjugation. Look it up. Just looking up both those meanings will tell you what they're doing to you. People need to learn to research. I watch a lot of folks saying a lot of things on videos, and I watch a lot of folks watching those videos, and then a lot of folks asking questions further down the line that those videos answered. So clearly we don't need to just keep telling you things in videos. If you're going to learn anything, you've got to learn, and I've been saying that for a long time. You need to learn, because if you don't learn to learn, you're forever waiting for somebody else to give it to you. But when it's given to you, you don't know it. You use it maybe once and it's gone again, and then the next time you're asking again for more help on the same sort of scenario, or the exact same scenario, which most things are. Most things are the exact scenario, but you keep giving that full name, so you keep contracting, so you have these contracts, so you are in dishonour, and then you're liable. You are the trustee, when in actual fact you should be the beneficiary. So get yourself back into a beneficiary position. Notify them that you're not the trustee. Notify them that you don't consent to this shit, especially the rubbish that's going on lately. The government has just descended into absolute treason and tyranny. Absolute. And they're doing that because of acquiescence. And yeah, there's lots of people shouting about it. But you're shouting about it in the way they've taught you to shout about it, which will guarantee that they will never have any bother from you. You're going into the streets, well that's funny because they're not in the streets. You go and riot and you kick off, and it don't matter because they've got dogs to send in on you for that. And they will send the dogs in. We've seen the sort of thing that's going on in America, and if you don't think that shit's going to go on here, you're a fucking idiot. And that thing isn't going on because the people are kicking off. That thing's going on because the government are creating the kick-offs through the false flags and the little prods and steers and police and alphabet soup agencies dressed up as protesters, just causing trouble, causing riots. It's all coming here. But I see, just as in America, I see many folks from many groups. They're cheering this shit on, and they're begging for this sort of response. They're begging for riots, and they're begging for what, looting. President Trump came on TV yesterday, and I know there's so many out there that are fucking hanging on every word this puppet says. But again yesterday he showed his true colours to anybody who was prepared to listen to his words. His words were basically coming out against the protesters that they've created to be protesters. And the sheep will all cheer it on because yes, it's disgusting, these protesters and all the looting and that's just mob mentality that they've created. They've created this mob mentality, and they know it happens. They triggered it. They set it all in place. They put piles of bricks there for the looters to use. They send undercover agents to just incite absolute tyranny. Now, can we ever prove it's the government? Well, if you prove it's the police, you've proved it's the government, haven't you? I know they're all for-profit private corporations, but let's face it, the police, they're a tyrannical, treasonous, unlawful corporation. They're a corporation of their own, but they're acting on the whim of Parliament. And one of these lords, I can't remember the one at the moment from the top of my head, the one that's, I don't like to remember the bloody names if I have to, but the one that's been in the press lately, he's said quite clearly that Parliament, the police have no obligation or rights to follow the whims of Parliament. That's exactly what they're doing, isn't it? They're following the whims of Parliament. So basically, folks, anyway, it's all treasonous, it's all shat. You got to learn some stuff. You don't have to do all this, you don't have to go through all this. You can work through it, you can get better at this, and you can learn to stand on some knowledge. I think this is about to cut off shortly. I'm going to have to work on why I've suddenly got less time on there. So if it cuts off, I'll apologise. But I will try and end off with telling you, you don't need to give your full corporate name to anybody that asks for it. You don't need to go into a court unless it's a court du jour, a true court standing with a judge or being presided over by a judge who stood on an oath. Magistrates are administration hearings, and Aylesbury's law clearly states that no administration hearing can ever be lawful on the landmass of England because of the constraints placed on Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II at the time of her coronation. That one sentence alone wipes out any magistrate's court whatsoever. I do not consent. I will leave it there. Learn some stuff, folks. Have fun.